So, folks, Netanyahu is sitting here now saying that he wants to see Trump buy TikTok because he has to control the narrative. He has to control social media. He says there's different weapons of war now. And you can't just fall back on using all the old weapons of war. There's new weapons of war. And so we have got to control social media. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. You're thinking, Brando, is that real? Did he really say that? That's not real, is it? Tell me that's just some sort of MAGA conspiracy theory. No, no, folks, it's real. And it is so real that I caught myself listening to Alex Jones talk about this, and I was agreeing with him. And just the other day, I was talking about agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene and saying, what in the hell? How did we end up here? How did we land where I'm agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene? And that day didn't even finish until I was sitting there listening to Alex Jones going, if I had never seen this dude before in my life, and he just randomly came across my feed saying this, I would agree with him. Now, I'm not going to play his clips. I can't stomach the guy. What I'm going to play you is Netanyahu saying this, because no, this isn't an Alex Jones conspiracy theory. This isn't some sort of MAGA bullshit that they've cooked up. This is real life, and here is Netanyahu talking about how that we need to own and control TikTok.
We're going to have to use the tools of battle. You know, the weapons change over time. You can't fight today with swords. That doesn't work very well, okay? And you can't fight with cavalry. That doesn't work very well. And you have these new things, you know, like drones, things like that. I won't get into that. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is class
Followers.
TikTok. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X. That's very good. And, you know, so we have to talk to Elon. He's not an enemy. He's a friend. We should talk to him. Now, if we can get those two things, we get a lot. And I could go on other things, but that's not the point right now. We have to fight the fight, okay? To give direction to the Jewish people, and give direction to our non-Jewish friends, or those who could be our Jewish our friends. Are we going to succeed with everyone? No. Will there be a strong counterpoint? Yes.
So there it is. He's saying it out loud. He's not even trying to mix the words up at all. He's not trying to say it in an underhanded way. No, he's saying we have to get TikTok, we have to get X, we have to control the narrative. We have to win the war this way. So if you thought that your speech was being oppressed before, it's going to be oppressed even further. Folks, this truly is one of the greatest assaults ever on free speech. And I'm one of many that said this when Elon first bought X and said it was going to be a platform for free speech. Everyone will be able to express themselves freely. We all said, no, he's just going to push white supremacy and hate speech on his platform. And that's what he was doing. But now they want to own it and they want to control the narrative. And I know so many people that says, hey, I started talking about what was going on in Palestine and all of a sudden my content started becoming suppressed. Well, folks, once they owned the social media and once they're able to control that narrative, you're not going to hear another word about it. And it's becoming more and more evident that while we have sat and looked at Vladimir Putin and thought that he's the one that had Trump as the puppet, really, Netanyahu clearly has got his ultimate puppet in Donald Trump because he is able to stand there beside of Trump and basically threaten him. And Trump is just his bitch on the world stage. Take a look at this.
I think we should understand that we're giving everybody a chance to have this done peacefully. Something that will achieve all our war objectives without any further bloodshed. But if Hamas rejects your plan, Mr. President, or if they supposedly accept it and then basically do everything to counter it, then Israel will finish the job by itself. This can be done the easy way, or it can be done the hard way. But it will be done. We prefer the easy way, but it has to be done. All these goals must be achieved because we didn't fight this horrible fight, sacrificed the finest of our young men to have Hamas stay in Gaza and threaten us again and again and again with these horrific massacres.
That's an absolute direct threat. And Donald Trump was standing right there beside him, letting him say that, and then took no questions from the audience and got the hell out of Dodge. Because how do you take questions in a moment like that? Folks, this is serious. This one is as serious as it gets. And again, this is not me trying to be hyperbolic, but when I'm sitting there listening to Alex Jones talk about this one and he sees the red flag and he's pointing it out and for one time we're on the same page, that should have never happened. I never wanted to be in agreement with that dude, ever. I never wanted to be on the same page with him, but he realizes, hey, if any of us speaks out against Israel, if any of us speaks out against him at all, we're going to be suppressed. He understands that. We understand that, and we understand where this thing is headed if they control the algorithm. I'm just trying to make this as blunt as I possibly can. If they control the algorithm, you're not going to see people like me. We're not going to pop up. And if there was community guideline violations before, and this is just me, at this point, I'm just giving a thought on this. I can't say that this is exactly what's going to happen. But I just know that TikTok was always an app where I had a hard time getting any footage because once I developed my following over there, don't get me wrong, I really got my start there and developed my following there at first. But then I just kept getting slapped with community guideline violations. I kept getting shadow banned. I kept getting knocked 2 steps forward every time I took 1 step forward. And so I just continued to get knocked backwards to the point that I rarely post there. But if this happens and if they control the social media, which he's catching on, hey, we got to control that. We're going to control that algorithm. Then everything you've ever said or believed or tried to raise awareness on is going to be suppressed. And it's just it's such an uncertain time that we're in. It truly is. I will keep doing this as long as I have a platform, and I will keep doing this as long as you can see me do it. But we're in a boat now where they're clearly attacking free speech like never before and driving the narrative. And Democrats are sitting back trying to figure out how to work this one, how that they can get ahead in the game. Well, you could start by listening to your voters. You could start by listening to the people who want you to stand up and fight back and fight for us, because you can love Donald Trump or you can hate Donald Trump. But he got in office, and immediately, the minute he got in there, he went to bat for insurrectionists. He went to bat and pardoned insurrectionists, people who tried to overthrow our government. And sometimes I sit and say to myself, would there ever be a Democrat that would go that hard to bat for us if we were the ones that were shut down? If we were the ones that were thrown in jail? Would any of them actually go to bat for us? I can't sit here and say with confidence that any of them would. But there's people like Mamdani, and this is the type of Democrat that people want, and I'm so glad that he had the courage, and this took tremendous courage to say this out loud on CNN.
So Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting the White House as we are talking today. He addressed the UN General Assembly here just a few days ago in New York. Now, the International Criminal Court has a warrant out for his address. They say that they accuse him of crimes against humanity. You have called, as I mentioned, Netanyahu's actions in Gaza genocide. It's going to become not just a rhetorical, but a question rooted in reality if you are mayor. As mayor of New York, you will oversee the next UN General Assembly, right, if you're mayor. Will you abide by the International Criminal Court? Will you have Prime Minister Netanyahu arrested if he's here?
Look, I've said time and time again that this is a city that believes in international law. This is a city whose values are ones that deserve to actually be reflected in our commitments. And I think that our city should uphold the warrants the International Criminal Court issues, whether it be for Benjamin Netanyahu or Vladimir Putin. And also, I am not Donald Trump. I will follow the laws as they are, as opposed to bend them to my own will. So we will pursue every legal avenue to ensure that that accountability is present. And the reason for that is that the context we are speaking about, this is a man who has orchestrated a genocide that has killed one Palestinian child every hour for close to 2 years. This is someone whose conduct I hear about from New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. And they come to me with a a horror at what they have witnessed, and for some New Yorkers, a horror as to what they have lost. There was a Palestinian New Yorker who spoke to me about losing 85 members of her family who were all killed by the Israeli military in Gaza. It's unconscionable, and a mayor's responsibility is to the people of this city, but it's also an opportunity to show your values as the leader of this city.
And all the horrors that we have witnessed, and all of the tragedy, and all of the genocide, and all of the pain and the suffering that we have seen would disappear into thin air if they control the airwaves and they control the narrative. And this wasn't some crazy, bullshit Alice Jones conspiracy theory. If I'd have just seen him talking about it by himself, I probably would have thought he was just trying to cook up some more fear and hyperbole. But I had actually already saw Netanyahu say that. I had actually already seen what they were aiming for, and then I saw Alex Jones, and that's when I was like, holy crap, how in the world did it end up that he and I are over here and we see this one the same way? But all I can say about this, folks, is maybe, just maybe, as we go forward, MAGA will just conspiracy theory themselves right out of office, because there is division right now in MAGA. And I'm seeing some influencers, not all of them, but I am seeing some conservative influencers who are going ahead and saying, hey, this is wrong. And they kind of have to if they're going to stick to their conservative principles. And also, they kind of have to because we've got reel after reel after reel of them saying the opposite. So I have seen some starting to call this out. I have seen some starting to raise the red flag on this one. And the way I look at it is that we should all be able to put our thoughts out into the world as long as you're not spreading harmful misinformation. I will never agree with the people who were putting out harmful misinformation during the pandemic. I don't agree with that. I don't believe you can yell fire in a crowded room. But I believe we should all be able to express ourselves and put ourselves out there without foreign governments dictating what we see. Kamala Harris said that the reason why these dictators were all in favor of Donald Trump is because they knew that they could use him to their advantage. They knew that he would be just putty in their hands, and that's what he is. To everybody that said, well, I don't know about Kamala Harris, I'm not really too sure about her, we wouldn't be in this boat today if we had Kamala Harris. We wouldn't be in a boat where we have a foreign government going to be controlling what we see on social media. But this one's a serious one, folks, and we have to keep a closer eye on this one. And I really want to use this moment, if anything, and I know I'm always the one that says, I ain't sitting down with these people, and I don't intend to sit down with the likes of Nick Fuentes and all those white supremacist assholes. I don't want to be nowhere near them. But this is one moment in time where any of us, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, should be able to come together and say, hell no. I mean, this entire time we've been worried about the Chinese getting our data, but you're going to let Netanyahu control the narrative? It's so crazy how fast we got here. We're only 9 months into 2025, about to be 10 months into 2025. That's where we're at. We got 3 more years to go. If we still have platforms, and if you're still able to see us, we'll be here calling it out. But this is one where that you should put your Democrat and your Republican beliefs aside, and your First Amendment, your belief in that should come forward. And foreign governments controlling the algorithms and suppressing free speech and controlling the narrative, I mean, that's a place we should have never been. So we're going to be in for it, folks. We're going to be in this one for the long haul. I'll be here as long as I can saying what needs to be said. And I appreciate you all so much for coming along on this ride with me. And understand, we're not always going to agree on every single issue. But I'd be damned if we let a foreign government control the narrative.